It's actually a card that Elves can't get off the board. So that thing could actually wreak some havoc.
Well, those of you who aren't in the loop about this sort of thing, Goblin Welder is completely busted. It is completely busted.
Along with every other card that's been played today
No, but
on
Welder,
camera.
but Welder actually is
Oh,
completely
okay.
busted.
Okay, got
That's
it.
different.
Got it. You see a Deathrite Shaman in the start there for Utter Leyton. That card is actually completely busted. So here's an Ancient Doom. There's a Painter Servant. Painter Servant going to come into play. Wouldn't be surprised to see it named blue here. Taking a look at most Painter deck lists, you're looking for your Pyroblast or your Red Elemental Blast. There's a Grindstone. Not a bad start.
Okay. So Jacob casually representing a second turn kill. Third turn, rather.
Yeah.
My apologies.
That's okay.
The way that this deck works, the basic combo is you Painter Servant to turn everything blue. Grindstone then mills over their deck. This deck kind of has a backup plan where it can use Transmute Artifacts to just go get Worm Coil Engine, which is good enough in a lot of games.
Yep.
And plays a couple of main deck Red Elemental Blasts and Pyroplasts. One, because you're just setting the blue, so once you do that with your Painter Servant, then your Red Blast just become 1 mana Vindicate / Counterspell split cards.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of decks in Legacy are just naturally blue. So there's a lot of matchups you run into where your game 1 Red Blasts are just excellent anyway.
Well. When you're facing down this, it's probably a little more difficult to win.
Yeah, so Josh is obviously very much under the gun here. So he's got to find a way to either break up Jacob's mana, perhaps win this turn. But I don't believe he has any... He doesn't have any sort of Emrakul or Progenitus creature in his deck game 1, so I actually think if Jacob is allowed to untap with 3 mana and his cards in play, that this represents a kill.
Yeah, the big question is, does he have a card like Viridian Shaman in his deck that he can go find? But I'm not even convinced that Viridian Shaman even breaks up the combo because Welder's out there.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the big problem.
So, from what I'm reading from Josh's deck list, this is basically win or bust.
Okay. That should be easy, just being put to test on turn 2.
Yeah, not bad. You have 3 mana.
Yeah.
So, do your thing.
Yeah. Well, if there's one player that can figure out how,
Yep.
I think we're watching him play. So here's a mana. Where do we start? We start with a Heritage Druid, and now a Quirion Ranger.
Okay. So now we have 3 green.
Okay. Boy, if he kills in this turn, I'm going to be so impressed.
Yeah.
I've got like a smile already coming across my face a little bit right now.
Legacy.
Yeah, if he kills in this turn, I'm going to be blown away. Right. 3 green floating, so what's he going to do?
He has Natural Order in hand.
Yep.
Yeah, his big stuff game 1 is 2 copies of Craterhoof Behemoth. Wirewood Symbiote. Down to 2 mana.
Alright, so Quirion Ranger going to return a force, untap a Deathrite Shaman. And still 2 green mana floating. Return this, untap that.
Again, 2 green in the pool.
Now 1. Now 4. How do I love this so much?
Yeah.
I don't understand why I'm so enthralled by this.
Well, I mean, if Josh is able to go off on turn 2 without a glimpse, that's just really that's really impressive,
Yeah, that's
right?
insanity.
Makes for compelling television.
Yeah. See him looking at Natural Order and Elves Visionary. It looks like he has one of the lands, the basic forest he picked up from the Quirion Ranger, and then a Green Sun Zenith. He's trying to figure out what he can do to get him out of this. I want to look at his deck list. I'm trying to figure out what he can do too. He's got 2 copies of Craterhoof in his deck. Doesn't have Regal Force or anything.
Yeah.
People have long since moved past that 5/5. So if Craterhoof were to come into play, boy, 4 mana Zenith for 1 gets him a Dryad Arbor, but I don't think that does anything. He's already played his land for the turn. because he fetched, so Cradle isn't something that he can run into. 4 of those, of course, in his deck.
Was incredible in the deck before the rules changed, and is now just
a joke.
Yeah.
It's like a silly joke how good it is now. What if this was all just some elaborate setup and he just had an Emrakul?
Well, that would be really elaborate for him to think far enough ahead to not put it on his deck list.
Yeah.
That would be really an impressive setup.
Yeah. Goes to all this work, tries to kill his opponent. He's like, I just have an Emrakul. So 2 mana left. Deathrite Shaman the draw. Okay.
I think this is where he's actually dead-ended.
1
green.
Return. Untap. Korean Ranger has been used. 3. He has a Zenith. The fact that this Elves deck can do all of this stuff on turn 2 by just doing something as innocuous as playing Fetchland Deathrite Shaman.
Yeah, his opening was turn 1 Deathrite Shaman.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, look at all this ridiculous stuff I can do. And I'm a green deck. I don't need blue cards in my deck.
And again, no glimpse.
Yeah.
This is just...
This is why show and tell is fine. This right here. This is why it's fine. Because look at what this deck's doing on turn 2.
So far, it's played just a bunch of 1/1s.
Hey, there's a couple 1/2s out there. So he's still got that 3 green mana floating. Maybe he has 4. Maybe we're wrong.
Yeah, he had 4 initially, and he's been net neutral so far, right?
Okay, sure. All right, so natural order. Behemoth, trigger, attack you. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I think that's a 10 ball, maybe an 11 ball.
Okay.
Kory. I like the slow cost on tap. Like,
not quite sure if something horrible has happened.
What am I missing? There's that. 5. Milieu. Okay, okay, yeah. I like it.
And there is a chance that Jacob basically gets faked out of going for the kill there because he's worried about an Emrakul or
for sure
progenitor style creature.
For sure.
So, Josh just had put him to the test. It's not unreasonable for him to make him go through the motions.
There's definitely no reason to concede.
That's for sure.
Yeah. All right, so we're gonna take a look at sideboards here. We'll start with Leyton. I'll let you do your thing.
He has a Guaranteed, a Kasali Pride Mage, a Viridian Shaman, a Progenitus, an additional Natural Order, 2 Gleeful Sabotages, 2 Abrupt Decays, 2 Thought Seizes, and 4 Cabal Therapy. So he can actually sideboard it into a really disruptive deck. And he also happens to just have a lot of artifact removal. I would imagine that a lot of this is to try to fight over Umezawa's Jute specifically, as that's one of the worst cards for Elves to play against, but just so happens that Jacob's deck has a ton of artifacts in it as well, so that will also be valuable here.
Yeah, there's some other cards, some other effects. One that's actually kind of hiding out in Jacob's sideboard that's really good against this deck, or at least can be an Ensnaring Bridge. It's kind of interesting how you can definitely get your hand empty and an Ensnaring Bridge be really, really good while you just sit behind that and you try to build the Painter combo. That can happen. 3 copies of Flusterstorm, a Pyroblast, 3 Tormod Script, 3 Spellskite, 1 Venser, Shaper Savant, and 1 Vendilion Click. So not a lot of cards here for the Elves matchup. I think Ensnaring Bridge is actually pretty good. I don't know how many you need to board in. And then you can have some of Spellskites to kind of protect yourself against some things. But I don't think there are a lot of cards that actually want to come in here from Kory. I don't know if you agree or disagree.
I wouldn't even touch Ensnaring Bridge. I think Ensnaring Bridge is much better against a deck like Rug, where the game's going to go on for a couple turns, and Ensnaring Bridge just locks them out.
Okay.
The Elves deck is, there's a ton of pressure on you. The Elves deck can win as early as turn 2 or turn 3.
Sure.
So Ensnaring Bridge is going to be too slow in a lot of games. Additionally, it's reasonable to assume that Josh is siding into some amount of artifact disruption, whether it's, a Viridian Shaman or a Pride Mage or just some naturalized type spells, whatever the case may be.
Okay.
Most Elves decks have access to some of those effects in their sideboard. And so the idea that you're going to be able to just sit behind Ensnaring Bridge and win the game that way, I don't think is true. I think Ensnaring Bridge is much more for matchups like Merfolk, Rug, just creature-oriented decks that are honest and a little bit on the slower side.
Sure. Well, you do see both players shuffling up pretty quickly here. Again, Jacob Kory on the left. He is up a game with the Blue-Red Painter deck. Joshua Leyton on your right, reigning player of the year.
Yes.
He's also sitting at 4-0 with combo Elves. So Kory's some player, again, that does have multiple Open Series top 8s. I believe 8 of them is the number, and most of them are in Legacy.
And came very close to top 8 in Grand Prix Indianapolis, which was Legacy back a little while ago, losing to Dan Jordan in the Maverick Mirror in the last round of the Swiss.
Oh.
So no shortage of Legacy experience and success on that side of the table.
This is what he likes to battle.
Yes.
This is how he does it. He's one of the, you can correct me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure Los Angeles guys.
I believe he currently lives in Orange County, but
Okay.
I associate him with the LA scene for sure.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I think he plays some amount at Majestics, which is a store in Costa Mesa. I've run into him there a few times. And
You like to get your battle on from time to time as well?
I like to hang out.
Ah, bird.
Yeah, I just bird.
Okay.
I just like to bird.
I could never do it. I don't know how you do.
What, just watch matches? We're doing it right now.
I
It's
don't know.
great,
I don't know
right?
how to do it.
You've been doing it professionally for several years now. I actually don't know what you're talking about.
If I go to the local game store, I got to get my game on.
Oh, okay.
I got to battle.
No, that's not my scene. I mean, I F&M on occasion. Don't get me wrong. I like to draft every so often.
All right.
I don't get, when I show off often. I'm just sort of like, I just want to hang out with my people, watch the matches, that sort of thing.
That's fair. Firm yet fair.
I've been in the trenches for so long. You know what I mean? It's just
Yeah, you're a grizzled veteran. You are.
True.
Yeah.
It's true.
How many years do you have to play to be considered a veteran? Like the NBA, it's like 11, like 10, 11.
Technically, it's your second year you start becoming a veteran.
Okay. Yeah.
And I don't know. My first PTQ was Mercadian Mass Block Instructed. My first Pro Tour was New Orleans 2001. So I
Good
feel
Lord.
pretty,
Yeah, veteran's accurate.
yeah, I would say veteran.
Grizzled, actually, too.
Seasoned. I like.
Yes.
I prefer seasoned. Grizzled implies a certain demeanor and way that I go about. I engage the world.
I think any man who drinks black coffee is grizzled. I don't think it makes you seasoned.
Sure.
I think it's grizzled.
Fair enough.
I want my coffee. I want it black. Coffee and lemonade this morning, by the way, really impressive. Those two have nothing to do with each other.
I like to run a little hot and cold. You see, both players keep 7.
Here is a windswept Heath.
I have
to
not
begin.
played much of the Elves versus Blue-Red Painter matchup.
I think few have.
Based on the first game, I'm going to go on a limb here and guess that being on the play is really important.
I'm with you. I'm with you on that one.
These decks, neither of which seem to provide too much disruption, both of which capable of killing us. I would assume Jacob has draws that allow him to kill on the second turn.
Yeah, we would have seen an easy turn 3 kill from our Leyton in that game
Oh, it was,
if
yeah.
he had been on the play.
It was very close to a turn 2 kill.
Yeah. I mean, we're looking at that would have been a simplistic turn 3 kill. Here's an island there from Kory, and he's got a grindstone.
Right.
See a painter servant in his hand too. Dryad with a draw step here for Utter Leyton.
Just going beat downs.
Yeah, might as well get in for 2. Always trying to deal damage to win the game. There is a Bayou. And there is a Nettle Sentinel. Untap the other one. And there is your Wirewood Symbiote. And pass the turn back.
So he might just be going to try to just beat up Jacob this game. And Elves has that's a reasonable backup plan that Elves has. I mean, people kind of joke around about it, but it's a real thing. And we're going to find out.
That's just a good, clean living. Just makes it look easy. Just don't have to search.
Yeah.
Don't have to brainstorm nothing. Just
Why
1-2
doesn't
punch.
everyone play this deck? Do you see these draws?
Yeah.
Jacob's got Force of Will left over in his hand.
Yeah. Just making it look really, really easy.
I actually think he has he might have 2 forces.
Jeez.
Whatever. Just industry standard draws.
Hey, it's got a Gleeful Sabotage, does Utter Leyton. And that card's pretty good in this situation, actually. That's a Conspire Naturalize. 1 and 2.
I think we're going to get a read to, I think Jacob's confirming that it's not 2 separate spells.
So you see he's taking a look at it. We'll bring it up on the screen for you guys as well. Gleeful Sabotage. Doesn't see a lot of play. Actually, the only release he's playing Elves.
And that's a sweet combo. Conspire is a sweet little combo with Nettle Sentinel. That's
It
a
is.
nice-
Oh, that's actually adorable.
Yeah, that is really cute.
Give me a free roll one time. That's what I love about Magic in general, Legacy. But there's always a card to deal with a certain situation. And, it would be easy to go towards Naturalize or some other type of effect like this. But Conspire is actually, or Gleeful Sabotage is actually the perfect one for this deck. There's a Force of Will. That's going to take care of the that one on the painter.
And Conspire creates a copy of the spell, so Jacob cannot just Force of Will the initial copy. There's 2 on the stack, so he keeps his Painter Servant, loses the Grindstone.
Block, real tough guy.
1-3 in front of 2-2. Just nuts and bolts magic going on over here.
All right, Kory's going to untap. So we have another Grindstone in his hand. Just drew an Ancient Tomb. Got a Scalding Tarn over there as well.
Well, he has a Grindstone in his hand. The Ancient Tomb just kills Josh this turn. So.
You know, you're right about that. No way. No way.
Come on.
Okay, Tom. I was like, man.
You got to be kidding me.
Yeah, that's really good draws. Misty Rainforest getting sacked on the end step. Get a Dryad Arbor. So Utter Leyton setting up for a pretty big turn here. Don't know if he has a Cradle in his hand or not. Cradle would add 4 mana. Things could really spiral out of control. He has a Dryad Arbor and looks like a green Sun Zenith in hand.
Yep. Pretty crazy, too, that Gleeful Sabotage was exactly the right tool for, because Jacob had Force of Will backup. I mean, it had to be, couldn't just be naturalized, couldn't just be Viridian Shaman or something.
Utter Leyton draws a Heritage Druid. Those guys are tapped.
Nope.
For now. Leyton can very easily untap them with that Heritage Druid. Also want to see what he wants to do with this Green Sun Zenith too, because he can generate a lot of mana to go searching for a card like Crater of Behemoth, or you could try to start the grinding with Elvish Visionary.
Yeah. He can also go tutor for a Viridian Shaman here, which really puts it's really difficult to imagine Jacob being able to go off in time through all of these shatters.
That's true.
So he has a lot of different paths he can take with this Green Sun Zenith.
So there's 3 mana. Here is a 4th one. And we might see a Zenith for 3, like you did say. Untap these Nettle Sentinels because a green spell, and now we'll see if Zenith does resolve. So Utter Leyton waiting semi-patiently.
Force of Will and Scalding Tarn the cards.
Gonna add some mana here, take 2.
It was
Intuition.
Was not Force of Will.
Force, and likely a Force. And what I think has happened here, and we'll get confirmation for our spotter at the table, but I think Painter Servant is naming blue.
Yes.
The reason for that is, one, so that those red elemental blasts can destroy something, but also every card is blue.
Another cute combo.
Yeah, another cute combo with Painter Servant is that card in his hand, even though it is land, it's blue land. And so you can Force Will removing that land because it's blue due to Painter Servant, pay the 1 life, and counter this Green Sun Zenith.
So many sweet little combos.
Adorable, isn't it?
Yeah, that is sweet.
I heart Legacy.
When stuff like this is going on, the format is really endearing to me. Within the framework of these people trying to kill each other on the second turn, there is some really nice stuff going on here.
So there is your Force of Will. Going to take care of that Green Sun Zenith. In comes the Nettle Sentinels. Block 1. Playing on the Dryad Arbor. Will Utter Leyton.
And now that 1-3 actually will provide a pretty sturdy defense against Josh, particularly if Josh fails to find any additional powerful action like Behemoth.
And you saw Utter Leyton activate the Wirewood Symbiote so that he could pick up there's a Grim Monolith, a Transmute Artifact, and a Misty Rainforest. But you saw him pick up the Heritage Root with the Wirewood Symbiote so that he could just untap the Nettle Sentinels.
Yeah.
A Transmute Artifact's old school.
Yeah, it's kind of like Fair Tinker. It's really weird that that's actually the card that got printed before Tinker. It's Tinker where you had to make up the difference.
Yeah.
Which is a very reasonably powerful 2-mana effect, and then later on came Tinker, which is a completely unreasonable 3-mana effect.
How dare you? All right, Tinker was before my time. I've only cast it in cubes. Draw a card, Misty Rainforest, pass the turn back. Utter Leyton draws his card and goes a Birchlore Ranger, I believe. He's sliding everything up in the red zone, and as you mentioned in the early turns of this game, it's time for some beatdowns.
Well, it would be really good for Josh to be able to knock Jacob down to 2 or lower, which would cut off the Ancient Tomb.
Yeah, that'd be a big deal here. 2, and if Jacob blocks the biggest creature, which now only takes 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, we'll put him down to 4. Fetch and put him down to 3. Ancient Tomb activation would actually put him down to 1.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So he should most likely block the Nettle Sentinel here.
I believe so.
He has both Ancient Tomb and Misty Rainforest in play, so kind of just preserving his life total matters a lot here.
So block the Nettle, take 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 damage. Going to go down to 4, will Kory. Leyton. Going to move some creatures back here. And is he going to hold that Birchlore Ranger or cast it? I wouldn't be surprised if he just holds it. Excuse me. It's like he doesn't want to give anything away. Make maybe Kory think about something. Because he can just pick up a creature like this, yeah, and then just play the Heritage Druid again. And yeah, that's going to untap his guys and pass the turn back. I actually like this play a lot of just holding that last creature because it makes it so the opponent has to actually think about a bunch of stuff. So Kory draws his card for the turn. It's that Transmute Artifact, so he's going to cast Transmute Artifact. And we got a reader, which is fair. I believe it's worth reading.
Yes. The short version of it is it's basically Tinker, where you have to pay the difference.
Sure. We'll bring up this helpful picture here.
Search in your library for an artifact and immediately place it into play, semicolon. Choose any artifact to play that you control and place it in its owner's graveyard. If the new artifact has a casting cost greater than that of the discarded one, you must pay the difference, or transmute artifact fails, and both artifacts are discarded. Shuffle your library after playing this card.
Yeah. Don't forget that last part or else.
Yeah. A simpler and yet more complicated time for Magic templating.
Yes. So with Transmute Artifact, going to get the Grindstone, going to activate the Grindstone. Going to go down to 1 to do that. Going to turn over the deck. I'm wondering if there's a Progenitus in there. There's not. No. So Josh Leyton is going to concede the game, and Jacob Kory moves on to 5-0 with Blue-Red Painter. Josh Leyton picking up his first loss with Combo Elves.